thoughts for the day. Better yet, your learning target. Okay? I can explain scatterplot, linear correlation, line of best fit, and correlation coefficients as it pertains to linear functions and modeling. All right? What is correlation? It's just the relationship between x and y variable. It's the relationship between your x and your y variable. All right? Possibly, like where your mind is. Okay, so we have scatter plots here. And each one of them represents a type of correlation. Okay? Now, what else? Well, we'll wait till we go through these, and then I'll throw the question. All right? If you see a scatter plot, like it's one of the top lefts, okay? All these dots are here. This is going to have a strong positive correlation. Why do you think it's a strong positive correlation?
They're all very close to each other.
Okay, so they're very close together, so that makes them strong. But how are they increasing? How so? What do you mean?
As you go forward, the x.
Yeah, what was that? Yeah, what Marcel describes is exactly what Terrell just said. It's a positive slope. That line, if I were to draw a line to there, a line of best fits, something like that, that's a positive slope, isn't it? And it is considered strong positive because the dots are close together. All right? So what do you think this top middle one is going to be? Yeah, it's still positive, right? If I were to draw a line of best fit, it's still be positive, but it's not strong because the dots aren't as close together, right? So that is a weak positive correlation. All right? Again, they look like they go up by the line of best fit and would still kind of be drawn through there. There'd be a positive slope, but the dots aren't as close together. They don't look like as much of a line as these first dots do. Okay? So that's a weak positive correlation. All right, let's move down here. Okay, what do you think this one is, bottom left? Yes. Because look at the line of best fit goes like that, then it's a negative line, right? And those dots are really close together, so it's a strong negative correlation. All right? Good. I think you guys are starting to get this. What is the bottom right? That is a weak negative correlation. Because again, if we draw a line here, I mean, it kind of fits that line right there. And the dots, though, are a little bit, spread out a little bit more. So that's a weak negative correlation. Now it's my friend in the top right. What? It's crazy. This is correlation. How can I have no correlation? Or do you guys say something crazy like that? There's no correlation. That's it. There's no correlation. Absolutely. If I were to draw a line of best fit, where would I start? Where would it go? I don't, Then those are completely random. They're all over the place. I can draw 5 different lines, and you can make an argument to where, oh, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Yes, sir. Yes, trying to remember from Algebra 2. Yes. Numerically, what I just heard is when we did this last year, numerically, the correlation coefficient, that's the letter R. And R can never be more than positive 1, and it can never be smaller than negative 1. The closer it is to positive 1, the more strong positive relationship it has. The closer it is to negative 1, the more strong negative correlation it'll have. Okay? Good. Nice. Glad you remembered. It is what we were just discussing about. Okay, the correlation coefficient is R. It's from last year. And if R is greater than 0, which means it's positive, if R is positive, the correlation is positive. The dots will form a positive slope, right? Likewise, if the correlation is negative, then the R value will be negative. It kind of makes sense. And finally, the closer that r is to 1, and it takes the absolute value here because whether it's -1 or +1, it's just, comparing it to 1. That's why it's taking the absolute value. Forget about the negative sign for right now. The closer that r value is to 1, the stronger it is. So the closer it is to -1, the more stronger negative it is. The dots will look more like a negative slope line. Okay? And the closer it is to +1, well, the dots will look more like a line in a positive slope. So for example, if my r value was, if I had a couple r values, which one is the strongest r value, okay? Which is the strongest r value? I'm going to list some right here. Okay, 0.79, 0.85, 0.09, and 1.01. What's the strongest?
0.3.
And that's what, this one is. How come? Because your r value should always be between. It shouldn't go outside 1 and -1. It shouldn't go outside. That's a review right there. It shouldn't go outside 1 or -1. If it does, this cannot possibly be an r value. So I got to cross it off. So look at these. This one's the strongest r value. Not only is it the strongest r, it's the strongest positive r value. All right? Then that's as strong as it could be. The dots will form a straight line. Good question. All right, let's start using our calculator to help us solve some of these things. Let's put the following information in our calculator. And how do we enter data into the calculator? I already have it tucked in your notes, so we can focus more into using the calculator for it instead of writing this down. You go to Stat, Edit. You enter your info into L1 and into L2. Okay? This will go into L1. This will go into L2. So, Stat, Edit with the choice 1. I'm going to enter in all this information. 2.4. Alright? 2.6. 2.8, 3, 3.2, 3.4, and where does it stop here? 3.6, thank you. 3.6. That is done. Now I need to enter the L2 column. Let's see what it is. It's going to be 38, 320. All right, nice. 33,710. 28,280. 26550. 25530. 22,170. And 18,260. Now, when I write my final one for L2, just a quick check to make sure you didn't skip a number. You should have the same number of objects in L2 that you have in L1. So they should end at the same level. Okay, and they do. And you might want to just take a quick look just to make sure you didn't make any typos with the decimal or anything like that, and we did it here. All right? So now that we did this, everybody should have them in the calculator right now. How to display the scatterplot info in your calculator. Okay, you go to y equals, and you move over to plot 1. You press enter, and plot 1 should have the rectangle around it. Meaning, I go to y equals now. I gotta move up to plot 1. See how I can move up and I'm up there now? See if I move off, it's still like nothing selected, but once I'm on plot 1, if I hit enter and move down, you see how plot 1 has that rectangle around it? That's telling the calculator, whatever is in the calculator, make the plot for it. Okay? It's not necessarily a line. That's why we don't put anything in the y1. We're not graphing a line, we're just putting some points. And we're telling the calculator right now, okay, well, put the points in. Sweetness. So if I were to graph this, and my window is 10 by 10, do you think I'd see any of these numbers? No, look, they're all from, all my numbers right now on the y-axis are going to go from 18,000 to almost 40,000. And my x-axis goes from 2 to 3, 3.5, whatever. But I'm going to need to adjust my window. So what do you think I should adjust my window to? Let's look at the x values. Well, before we even get there, let's look at the x. These are our x's, and these are our y's. Yeah, you have to at least start at 2.4 and go to 3.6. Well, let's go a little bit lower than 2.4 and a little bit more than 3.6, just for the sake of... You can go 2 and 4. You can go 2 and 4. Right? So we'll go from 2 to 4 on the x-axis. In the scale, you want a tick mark every how often? I'd say maybe 0.2. 0.2, because that's what it goes by, doesn't it? 0.2. Okay, what about our y's? Well, the minimum, the smallest value is 18,000, isn't it? 216. So I would say at least 18,000. Right? I could have made it 16,000, could have made it 15,000, doesn't matter. What do you think I should do for the max value? Yeah, maybe 39,000, maybe 40,000. Either one of those will have all your points on there. I'll go to 39,000. Now, if you do it by 1,000, how many thousands are in between 18 and 39? Yeah, 20, 21, somewhere on there. So if you do it by 10,000, see 21 tick marks. Do you want to see 21 tick marks? No. I don't know, let's do it by 5,000, by 3,000, doesn't matter. Let's do 5,000. Okay? Now let's take a look at the graph. There you go. It is now included all of them right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're saying I need to do this? Candy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, look at the calculator. I was cut off so I can see the table. That's right. We found a problem and you have to solve it in 2 seconds. That's all. All right. So there are our points. So if we were to draw a line of best fit, I would probably what? Go somewhere around here, something like that. Agree? Yeah. Yes. I think so. But let's see. Let's now see where that is. So we have gone through entering the data and putting the scatter plot. Let's create the line of best fit. All right. Now, we still have our table here. We go to stat, and we want to calculate. This right here, when we go to calculate, assumes that you already have these entered in, and we do. We already did that to do the scatter plot. So we go to stat calc, and we want a linear regression. That means we want it to create a line of best fit, linear regression. And we want to make this easier for us. We don't want to look at it in a calculator, write it down, go to Y1, and type it in based on how we wrote it down. We are going to actually have the calculator, after we calculate it, put it into Y1 for us. And that happens with store reg EQ. Now, on my calculator on the board, I might not have it. You definitely have it on your calculator. All right, when you get the store reg EQ, you go to variables, Y variables, function, Y1. Right in that order. It's bars, Y bars, and you can hit enter twice, if you'd like, for function. And then you calculate it, and it will store it. It will store it right in the calculator for you. So, we go to stat, calc, which I move over. I want a linear regression, which is option 4. I hit enter. Okay? Mine does not give me the option to store the reg EQ. Yours does. All right? you guys need to, when it says store reg EQ, all right? When I store your regression equation, that's what that means. There'll be a little colon here, right? And when your cursor is here, you need to hit the vars button, choose Y vars, then functions in Y1. And when you hit enter, it will put a Y1 right here for you. It'll put a Y1 right here for you. And what that'll do is, I'm going to have to go back and type in my equation by hand, which stinks because there's a lot of decimals. You guys, the calculator, when it comes up with the equation, when it comes up with this equation right here, it will automatically store that in Y1 so you don't have to retype it. That's going to save you that, all right? So go ahead and do that. I'm going to write these down. Well, actually, I'll cheat here a little bit. I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way. Negative 1, 5, 3, 5, 8, 14, 15, 12, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. All right? I'm going to have to go to Y equals. If you did that store reg EQ, yours is already typed in there for you. Should already be in there. Which means you won't make any mistakes retyping it in like I possibly can. Right. Negative 1, 5, 3, 5, 8, 0.9, 2, 8, 5, 7, X. Plus 7, 3, 6, 2, 2.5. Now if I graph this, it should show a line of best fit. There it is. There it is. Line of best fit. Congratulations, people. You did.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're good. So let's take a guess. Do you think that's a strong positive correlation? Oh, strong what? A weak? A strong negative. I'd say it's a strong negative. So how can we do that? Let's look at our R value. Let's see what it actually looks like. Let's take some guesses. What do we think our R value will look like? Okay? Well, it should be negative, shouldn't it? It's negative. So, negative 0.9 I'm hearing. What else?
Negative 0.78.
Negative 0.78. Any other guesses? What do you guys? Any guesses? Okay. In order to calculate your correlation coefficient, which is your R value, you go to variables and hit statistics. Then you go to EQ and select the number R. You hit enter twice. You hit enter to select R. You hit enter one more time so the calculator actually evaluates what R is. So, I'm going to go to statistics. Variables first. Bars. I go down to statistics, it's number 5. Hit enter. And then I want to go to EQ. And see what number 7 is? And I hit enter not once, but I hit it a second time. Negative 0.9805. That is a very, very, very strong negative correlation, which means those dots resemble really close to a straight line. All right? There you go. There's your R value. Sweetness.